So let's just take a moment to be centered. We ring this bell and we light this candle to remind us of the light within each and every one of us. And if you would read with me our opening statement. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And instead of repeating that again, I want you to turn to the back of your bulletin. We have our mission, our vision, our values. And for today, let's just look at our vision. And if you would, let's just recite our vision together. Unity of Kanawha Valley provides a welcoming community of love, acceptance, and spiritual growth. So there's 3 things there, and I invite you to take one of those 3 things and incorporate them into your life today and this week. So today we have, Ron Soul is out with Mountain Stage, so we have the wonderful Jim Snyder and Jeff on the piano to lead us in some songs.
My turn? Let's do this in B flat. Go ahead and stand for me, please. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel love's mighty power and love's grace. I can hear the brush of angels' wings. I see glory on its face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence, surely of love is in this place. Surely the presence of love is in this place. I can feel love's mighty power and love's grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on his face. Surely the presence of love is in this place. Surely the presence, surely the presence, surely the presence of love is in this place. In the hymnals, let's try number 149. Yeah, go ahead. Y'all ever sung that before? Me neither. Okay, let's go to 237. And Laura, you're awful good with that microphone. Would you sing it with me? We did this back in the spring sometime. So let's all sing it through just to refamiliarize ourselves. And then we'll do it in rounds, okay? I'll take the first group, and I'll take this, yeah. I'll take this side of the building. Ruben, you just take that side of the building. So let's go through it once here. 2, 3, and love, love, love. The gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, love, love. Okay, you ready?
Okay.
Okay, I'll take the first one. You ready, guys? 2, 3, and love, 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 love. Laura? Love in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, love, love. Love, love, love. The gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, love, love. One more time. Love, 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 love. The gospel in one word is love. Love thy neighbor as thyself. Love, love, love. That was fun.
I think I'm done for the day. Thank you for that wonderful music.
Thank you for your help.
Okay, always happy to help. That's what we do at Unity, and everything in love, of course. Okay, so announcements, and thank you for the reminders in love, the coaching I received from you guys. Today, after the service, join the Zoomers for the after party. You can Zoom in with your phone, iPad, or computer. Details are on your bulletin insert. It is a lively conversation, totally worth having. The book study group, Thursdays at 8 p.m. on Zoom again. From the comfort of your home, you can wear your pajamas. No one will know. This week, they're discussing Chapter 11 of Falling Upward by Richard Rohr. The group is looking for book recommendations from you. And there are a couple floating around after our seminar we had yesterday, and everyone, we're a great group of readers. We have a wonderful idea, so join in on your recommendations. What book would you like to discuss? Tell Ernie by Wednesday. Her email's on your bulletin insert. Unravel is meeting this Tuesday at 5:15 p.m. in the activity room. The journaling and discussion group will be covering the topic of challenges this time around. Barbie, did you want to say a word or two?
Just a couple of words to people who might not have ever come to this group. It's an open group. You won't feel like you have to catch up on something if it's your first time, because each session that we have is in and of itself. And the format is we'll have 3 questions, and we write a while about it, and then we discuss our answers. And so, as Laura mentioned, we're going to be looking at perspectives on challenges. It's going to be a really interesting meeting, so you're very welcome. Just let me know you're coming so I get a chair for you.
Oh, thank you, Barbie. Yeah, challenges. I don't have any. No. None that I'll admit. Okay, here's some exciting news. We'll be hosting some special activities on Unity World Day of Prayer on September 10th and 11th. Those are kind of solemn days for the United States, and it's also Unity's traditional World Day of Prayer. We'll be doing things here at the church. We'll be zooming into the Unity services. The sanctuary will be open from 10 till 6 for a time of quiet reflection on Thursday. Make plans now to stop by to give yourself the gift of time in the silence. There's lots more coming in the future. Be sure to take your bulletin inserts home, and there are Unity World Day of Prayer flyers out here for you. It's always a good idea to go into the silence. Okay, we've done announcements. We don't have any first-time attendees. We've got some people who have come back, who have been here before. Hello to everyone. Hello, Margaret, who teaches piano downstairs. Hello, Mickey, this is what, 3 times in a row? Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, great. Okay, and now I will turn it over to Janet, who is going to welcome everyone.
Okay. Well, I'm Janet Prince. I'm the ministry coordinator here at Unity of Kanawha Valley. Usually our welcome is done by a board member, but because of technical difficulties, today you have me. But thank you, thank you, thank you. The thing about Unity of Kanawha Valley is that we invite you to see the light of your divinity. We want you to see that when you look in the mirror, and then we want you to see that when you look in the eyes of each other, that you can see the divinity in each person that you meet. We thank you for being with us here today, whether you're here in person, whether you're watching on Zoom, or whether it's some later date that you are tuned into YouTube. We appreciate you sharing your energy with us. Unity of Kanawha Valley is a unique place. We do promote the idea that the light of God, the spirit of love, is within each and every one of us, equally, freely given to all with no exceptions. Spending time in the silence, you can discover this love, which is the source of all life and love and everything there is in the universe. For me, this is a place of connection with each other, with our source, with our neighbors. And we see this connection here at Unity of Kanawha Valley as we engage in music, as we engage in prayer, and as we engage in simply watching the beautiful butterflies that have taken home in our butterfly garden. You will see people smiling and hugging and dancing because this is what life is all about. So we come together to celebrate love, to deepen our connection to the spiritual, and to affirm that there is only one presence, God the good. So a lot of people like to say that we have a cafeteria-style spirituality, that you take what you want and leave the rest. But I want to add a little something to that because sometimes the spinach that you're passing up might be the very thing you need. So look at the offerings that are given to you. Don't just pass them by just because. But do give yourself the gift of really looking at it, really seeing, is this really what my spirit needs? Of course, we're going to love you one way or the other. It's okay. You are free to be yourself here at Unity of Kanawha Valley. Affirmative prayer is a big part of what we do. So I'm going to invite you now to engage in a practice that Reverend Mary taught us yesterday. And this is about affirming the 12 powers, but we're going to do it with movement. So I invite you to stand up, and I'm going to tell you what the movement is, and then ask you to reinforce that with me by repeating what I say. And so start with your hands in prayer position and say, "Faith blesses my day and paves my way." Faith blesses my way and paves my way. Now put your hands on your heart. I am a radiating center of love. And as you say that, I want you to open your heart, your hands wide. I am a radiating center of love. Now flex your muscles. I have the strength to accomplish all that is mine to do. I have the strength to accomplish all that is mine to do. Lightly tap the top of your head. I am guided by divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. Divine wisdom in every thought, word, and action. Now, we're going to raise our arms in a power motion, lifting motion. All power is given to me by God. All power is given to me by God. Now, look upward and move your hands away from your temples to express expansion. I envision good unfolding in every area of my life. I envision good unfolding in every area of my life. And now we're going to stomp our feet. My understanding of truth deepens and enriches my life. My understanding of truth deepens and enriches my life. Now, move your arms and legs like you're running in place. I choose, I commit, I am willing. I choose, I commit, I am willing. Now, use your hands to smooth things out in front of you. Divine order governs every aspect of my life. Divine order governs every aspect of my life. Now wave your arms with wild enthusiasm. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm to do those things that ought to be done by me. I fairly sizzle with zeal and enthusiasm to do those things that ought to be done by me. And now shake it off. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. I release anything and everything that no longer serves my unfolding good. Now open your arms wide to embrace all of life and give yourself a hug. I am the power of life. I love my life and I am magnetic to my good. I am the power of life. I love my life and I am magnetic to my good. Woo! So, who says that prayer has to be quiet? Oh, well. Okay, y'all can sit down now. But what you have just done is a 12-power meditation. Isn't that a wonderful way to get in touch with these powers and invigorate these 12 powers? Today you're going to be hearing from Reverend Mary Masters from Buffalo, New York. And next week I'm going to be speaking on healing and wholeness. That's one of the classes I'm taking at Unity Urban Ministerial School, so I'll be discussing that. For right now, though, let's stand back up and just greet everyone very briefly. Say hi to someone you've never met before, or reconnect with old friends. but we have such amazing teams together. Our AV team, our prayer chaplains, our host team. We've just created a welcome usher team, which will be in place by September 1st, so that we have people to welcome those who come to our church and then serve as ushers later in the service. We are so grateful for each and every one. Our beautiful grounds team that provides that butterfly garden for us and keeps it healthy. We want to thank our junior bell ringer, Danny Blair. Yay, thank you, Danny, thank you, thank you. We thank our beautiful musicians who keep us uplifted with the wonderful music. So, I just want to encourage you to spend time in the silence every day and to remind you that love is your source. The pen is in your hand, and a new day is dawning for us all. So I will invite Mary Ann to come up. She is our prayer chaplain today, and she will be leading a meditation.
Thank you, Janet. Boy, do I feel different than I did when I walked in. Whew, a lot of energy going on. Let's begin to prepare for meditation. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and take a few slow, deep breaths. Breathing in, breathing out. Feel the cool air moving in through your nostrils and the warm air moving out through your nostrils. The more you follow your breath, the more calm and serene you will feel. Imagine that the air of your breath is made of love. Allow each breath to carry you deeper into the sanctuary of unconditional love within you. Feel love enter every cell, every organ, every possible space. Notice the subtle shifts as you radiate divine love. Feel the pleasure of being alive. Picture a warm, gentle light glowing at the core of your being. This is the divine spark, which is steady, compassionate, and eternal. Light is a messenger, and the message is life. With your next breath, feel the warm light extending outward, reaching beyond your body. Imagine it connecting with the lights of all life around the globe. See a luminous web of hearts united by the same divine essence, spanning continents and oceans, while it touches your home, your loved ones, and embraces all of life. You are the ocean of spirit that has become the wave of human life. Now imagine our spiritual community thriving. Imagine hearts opening, spirits lifting, and new friendships blossoming. Imagine a wave of loving energy attracting all those searching for a spiritual home through Unity's message of God's unconditional love. The belief that we are all one. And so it is. Amen.
The word for today is gratitude. Gratitude is my heart's song. Gratitude is my heart's natural response when I think of the best life has to offer. But sometimes, when I compare my circumstances with someone else's, or when I am distracted by negative thoughts or challenging situations, my closed heart may feel resentment rather than gratitude. I let the first twinge of resentment remind me to return to gratitude. I pause, breathe, and remember the truth of my being. Knowing I am a unique expression of God, I open my heart and realize again the divine presence that is always with me. I mindfully reconnect with the indwelling life, love, wisdom, understanding, and strength that have helped me grow through even the most challenging experiences of my life. My heart sings with gratitude. Psalm 86:12. I give thanks to you, O Lord my God, with my whole heart.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that loves someone like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. It's grace that teaches my heart to hear, and it's grace my fears relieved. How precious does that grace appear whenever I believe. When
Boy, that was lovely. I'm used to Amazing Grace being sad and at funerals. This was more like an anthem of joy. So I want to introduce right now Reverend Mary Masters. If you weren't here yesterday, you're in for a treat. She has been coaching, lovingly helping us as we are on our journey looking for our next spiritual leader. She has been a longtime minister at Unity of Buffalo. Yeah, and has coached them through times. She's getting ready to retire from that. She's in a leadership position with Unity Eastern Region. So yeah, we got the officials here today. Everybody be good. Anyway, help me welcome Reverend Mary Masters as she shows us an approach to prosperity, what to do when it appears there's not enough.
Okay, well, good morning. And boy, I just want to start with a big expression of gratitude for what a gift it's been to be here for the second time. I think it was April when I was here before, and you have such a lovely, lovely ministry and people, and you're really strong and solid. I hope that I know that there's a tendency sometimes to focus on not enough. We'd like more people, but I want to bring a fresh perspective to that, perspectives to challenges. So, thank you to everybody that's been part of helping prepare for this weekend and to host me, to Sharon providing a wonderful home, and Barbie and Amy and and Janet, and I don't even want to begin to name everybody because I'll leave somebody out, and also, I was very touched to receive one of your board share letters. I had a hip replacement surgery in June, and what a delight it was to get that letter and to know that you were thinking about me and sending your prayers. So that's a wonderful idea. I'm going to pass on and share with others. So we had a good day yesterday, I think. We covered a lot of ground, and some of you were here and some of you weren't, and that's okay. But I learned a lot, and most of all, I learned that you're doing a lot of good things. You're on the right track. And so today I wanted to share a little message about my understanding of Jesus' teachings. And when I was going through school, taking the SE classes like Janet is now, I always remember one of the things we learned is the 4 ways that Jesus used to teach, his 4 teaching methods. And I don't know if this is a pop quiz for Janet. What are those 4 methods? Okay, you can tell me later. The 4 methods that we're taught is precepts, just short, simple, straight statements. Love your neighbor as yourself. Seek first the kingdom of God, and then all things will be added. Just a short, simple statement. And then parables, of course, stories, and then miracles and actions. Demonstrations were the 4 teaching methods. And so as I've gone through life, and since I learned those 4, I've thought about it, and I think there's another teaching method that Jesus used, and I've really come to appreciate it, and it is conundrums. A conundrum. So what's a conundrum? It's a confusing and difficult problem, something I suppose we have to wrestle with. When somebody brings something up or asks me a question, or it happened yesterday, I got to think about that. I don't know right away. Let me get back to you, or I don't know. I'm still learning and growing and figuring things out myself. So here's an example of a conundrum. There was a rabbi, a priest, and a Unity minister. And they were walking down the street, and they came upon a big bag of money. And there was no identification, where it come from, who's it belonged to. So they had this conversation. What are we going to do with this bag of money? And the rabbi said, well, we could draw a big circle on the ground. We could throw the money up in the air, and whatever ends up inside the circle, I guess that's ours to keep. And the priest said, well, that's one idea. How about we draw the circle on the ground, we throw the money up in there, whatever's outside the circle must be ours to keep. Thought about it a little bit, and then the unity minister says, hey, I've got a better idea. Forget the circle. Let's just throw the money up in the air, whatever God wants, she can keep, and whatever lands on the ground, that's ours to keep. So, you know, it's a conundrum, you know, to be in the world, you know, how do we be in the world and not of the world? Or as one book title says, even mystics have to pay the bills, you know. So we struggle with this. How do we deal with the issues of the practical aspects of life? You know, how do we manage our money? How do we know that there's, you know, what's ours to keep, what's ours to share, what's ours, you know, where do we get the guidance to find the right balance for living in our lives? And I always love that Charles Fillmore, the co-founder of Unity, said, you know, that, and I always feel this way, you know, everybody who walks through the doors of this church, of my church, every church, usually they're seeking something, you know, they're seeking you know, like Charles and Myrtle Fillmore, they were seeking a better way. They were seeking an answer to her healing challenge. You know, we're seeking, people come seeking, you know, a better life, or, you know, a way to deal with how to be present to all that's going on in the world. But Charles said that ultimately, we think we're seeking all this stuff out here, health, money, relationships, the right partner, but ultimately, we find that it's God that we're seeking, that ultimately we find it's an experience of the divine. And Eric Butterworth, a Unity minister and author, you know, he said, you know, he talked about Jesus as the great example, not the great exception. And I love that chapter in Discover the Power Within, where he said, you know, Jesus wasn't saying worship me, but he was saying come and sit next to me. Come and sit and look in the same direction. I want you to see what I see. You know, that he created this breakthrough in consciousness where he could, you know, he saw things in a different way, and he was inviting us to sit in that, to be in that same place in consciousness, to sit and look in the same direction. Come over here, let me see look and see what I'm seeing. So, today I wanted to talk a little bit about prosperity, and it's an example of a conundrum. And I have another really good example of a conundrum. It's in the Gospel of Matthew, it's in the Gospel of Luke, so it must have been pretty important. It was written down at least twice. In Matthew, so I'll share with you the Matthew version, chapter 25, 29. For those of you who brought your Bible, you can, I know this isn't the kind of church where probably most people walk, but you can go home and look it up. Chapter 25, verse 29. He said, for everyone who has more, for everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But for him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. To me, that's one of those like, ouch. Did he really say that? That doesn't seem very nice. He's saying, you know, the rich get richer and the poor are going to get poor. That doesn't sound very, you know, who has more, you're going to get more and more, and those who don't have, if you're in that other category, you don't have very much, that will be taken away. Gosh, that's not what, but that's what he said. For everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. For him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. So to me, this is an example of Jesus teaching about consciousness. He's saying when you have a consciousness of abundance, more will come to you. When you have a consciousness of not enough, of lack, what you have will tend to dissipate and go away. When we have a consciousness of oneness, of the infinite, of possibility, we will keep growing and more will just come to us. So I talked yesterday about this distinction between, a consciousness of scarcity, or, sufficiency, knowing that there's always enough, that there, and when it looks like there's not enough, that something's right behind that bush, behind that corner that is about to come. I remember when I was in summer camp years and years ago, I didn't know how to swim. I was kind of slow, and I love sports, and I was good at a lot of different things, but for some reason I was kind of scared of the water, and it took me a long time to learn how to swim. And I remember one time the camp counselor literally picked me up and carried me out in the middle of the pool and dropped me in the water and walked away. Well, I figured out how to dog paddle pretty quick to get back. So on the one hand, it was scary, and I don't recommend doing that to anybody who's learning to swim. But in retrospect, it was kind of a life lesson that I'm always connected to the source of my good within me and around me, and I have that ability to be resourceful and thrive. So what is it about this thing of trying to get more? I don't know about you, but it feels like for me sometimes when I'm always trying, that it really creates more lack and more insufficiency rather than more good. So what's that about? Trying to, well, I thought, first of all, when we're trying, I don't know about you, but it's exhausting. It's trying, that when we're trying, we can say sometimes a person is trying on my nerves. You ever have anybody, you're like, oh, that's really trying to be around that person or to be in that situation, or it drains our energy level. Trying to get more puts our focus out there on what we don't have. And we're always saying or thinking that we need something more to feel complete, to feel satisfied. So what's an alternative to that? Well, Eric Butterworth said life is meant to be lived from the within out. So what matters most is where we're coming from, not what we're trying to get to. And I've always loved, Emily Cady presents this in Lessons in Truth, that there's the world view, there's what the world teaches us how to live our life, and there's the spiritual view. That the world view says, have, do, be. If I can just have, get what I see in the commercials, or if I have more, then I'll be able to do more. And then I'll be, really ultimately what I think we're wanting is a state of mind or a quality or being. I want to be happy, who just wants to be happy or to be peaceful or to be feel fulfilled or feel like our presence matters. But, the world's trying to teach us just if you have enough stuff, you'll be able to do that and you'll finally get that feeling of peacefulness. Whereas the spiritual, what we teach in Unity, is the opposite. Be, do, have. Start with, we can claim that state of being within ourselves. And from there, we'll kind of naturally know what is ours to do. And from that, what we want and need, we'll have what we need. That's what Jesus said, seek first the consciousness, seek first the kingdom of God, and then all these things will be added to you. That at any time, at any moment, you can call it a presence pause. You can stop and pause. Who have I come here to be? Or what do I want to be right now in this situation? Do I want to be a presence for, I love your vision statement, love, acceptance, and spiritual growth. You can be that, whatever's going on. And so making the shift from, choosing first our state of being, is part of our spiritual growth and maturation. I talked yesterday about we wake up, our spiritual progress, wake up, grow up, clean up, and show up. Sometimes we want to skip from the wake up to the show up, and there's some maturation that needs to happen, some spiritual growth and maturity, and some releasing. So we can think about how do we want to choose being, to remember being more as a way of responding to the appearance of not enough. Well, there's a lot of ways we can be. We can be trusting. We can choose to be trusting. We can choose to be faithful. We can choose to be curious. We can choose to be open. We can choose to be creative. We can just choose to be present to something that feels uncomfortable. We can choose to be understanding. We can choose to be compassionate. We can choose to be generous or grateful or have a spirit of generosity. We can choose to be community-minded. Being trusting. There was a story in the Daily Word a few months ago about a woman and her experience of driving to a monastery to go to a women's retreat. She wasn't sure about the route, so she plugged it into her GPS. And although she had been there many times, this time the GPS led her on a different route that she kind of questioned. She thought, why is it telling me to go this way? I should. But she just trusted the guidance that came. And it turned out the GPS took her on this beautiful winding road and out in the country and in a route that she never would have gone. But along the way, she saw a lot of things she'd never seen before, and she felt like there was an important life lesson in that, to be more trusting. I have a friend who loves to just sometimes get in the car and say, I want to see where the car wants to go today. and just go for a drive in the country and, find an interesting bridge to drive over, or some trees or nature or something. And I've told that story a few times, and somebody said, well, how do you get one of those cars? I'd like to get one of those cars where it just knows where to go by itself. So we can just learn to be trusting. Or we can be forgiving, or forgetful even sometimes. I tell you, a couple of years ago, I went to my high school 50th reunion, and I hadn't seen most of the people in a very long time. And there was one woman in high school where something had happened between us, and I had dropped her off in a place that she wasn't happy with, and we had sort of had this falling out. And I hadn't seen her in 45 years, but I tell you, for 6 months before going to that reunion, I was so obsessed about, what's going to happen when I see this woman, and is she going to bring up this situation that happened a long time ago? And I was so worried and anxious about it. And, I get to the high school reunion. She was like the first person I encountered out of all the people. And I thought, and it was like nothing happened. She was like so excited to see me and gave me this big hug, and we had this wonderful connection. And I think it was like that incident that here I'd been all worried about. It was like it never happened. She was like, I thought, well, why was I, spending all this energy that I didn't need to spend? So we can be forgiving, or we can, just live our lives and forget things that have happened. We can be community-minded. We can think about how can we use our space to share with a wider community. We've got 12-step groups that meet at our church and other kinds of support groups. And we got a call a few months ago from another church that said, hey, I heard you have a labyrinth in your backyard or in your Peace Park behind the church, and could we bring a group over from our church to watch? I said, of course, that's what it's there for, is to be available to the whole community. Or you could be imaginative and open, like my friend Leroy that I went to lunch with a few years ago, and he was kind of on a special diet and wanted certain things to eat, and he looked at the menu and they didn't have what he wanted that day for lunch, and he just asked the waitress. He said, "Hey, this is what I'd like. Do you think you could make it? Do you think you could go in the kitchen?" And first she was kind of puzzled that he was asking for something that wasn't on the menu, but she said, "Well, let me go back in the kitchen and ask him." And she came back and she said, "Yeah," the cook said, "we've got those ingredients. We could make that for you." And I was like totally blown away. I said, "What do you mean you can order something that's not on the menu at a restaurant?" I never would have thought to do that before. And then I thought, well, of course. Why do we limit ourselves to what we ask for, by what somebody else has preconceived and put on a printed menu? He asked for what he wanted, and they were able to provide it. So I kind of think that this first step to becoming more aware is just to become aware of when we're in the not enough consciousness, when we're thinking, and to know that that's just a sign that in that moment we're feeling separate from our source. And so you can catch yourself and say, "Oh, okay, I see what's going on here." Step back, pause, breathe, and then, say, well, what else could I choose to be in this moment? Rather than focusing on lack or fear or not enough, to say, I could choose to be open. I could choose to be imaginative. I could choose to be silly and creative and see what comes up. What could I choose to be more of? Gandhi talked about my life is my message. Be the change you want to see in the world. And so it's not enough to just, it's not that we need to get something. It's what do we need to be in this moment to be open, to be resilient, to be resourceful. And when we just, I like this idea that when we discover what we have, then we have it. Then you've really got it. You own it. You can access it. When you don't know what you have, you already have it, but you don't know you have it. It's like I shared yesterday, a woman that was going to our 80th anniversary party, and at the last minute she was getting ready to walk out of her house, and she couldn't find her hearing aids. And she looked and looked, and she just decided, heck, I'm going to go anyway. I'm going to make the decision to have a good time. And, even if I can't hear everything that everybody's saying, I'm not going to let this prevent me from going and having a good time. And she went, she came to the party, she had a great time. And it wasn't until on the way home she discovered that she had her hearing aids all along. They were, she had one of those jackets with an inside zipper pocket, and she had so carefully put her hearing aids there, and she forgot she put them there. So we often have what we need, we just don't know we have it. And so wake up to that. So ask yourself, who have I come here to be? I've come to be here to be in the flow of life and to allow things to come to me, to us as a community. And the last thing I want to share with you is Eric Butterworth's definition of prosperity. There's so many different you could say, what is prosperity? But he said it comes from a Latin root word meaning hope. So prosperity really means to go forward hopefully. To be prosperous is to be hopeful, to move forward hopefully, and therefore prosperity is not so much a condition of life as it is an attitude toward life. We can be hopeful, we can be open, we can be curious, we can be generous, we can be ourselves. So I just invite you to turn to your neighbor before, as we close this lesson, and look around and say, wow, you're looking prosperous today, Sharon. Marianne, you're looking prosperous today.
Live long and prosper.
My, you're looking prosperous. Thank you for being prosperous today. And and most importantly, remember who you are. You know who you've come here to be, and that is to be hopeful and to be open and to be creative and to be yourself. So thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Mary. What a wonderful message to us. I have a lot of takeaways. So right now I'm going to invite the ushers to come forward. And we're a tithing church. A lot of us tithe to the church, but the church also tithes back to the community. And this month, our tithe is going to Man a Meal, who supports people who are in need of a little bit of physical food. So I want you to know that part of your tithes and blessings go out to the community, and the rest supports the church.
Let's repeat the offering blessing, which is on page 2 of the bulletin. Divine love, moving in and through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I give in love, I trust God, and I am grateful.
Will the circle be unbroken here and now, Lord, here and now? There's a better life awaiting. Show us how, Lord, show us how. I was singing with my family. I was singing with my friends. Now we all can sing together. May our circle never end. Will the circle be unbroken here and now? Here and now, Lord, here and now. There's a better life. There's a better life awaiting. Show us how, Lord, show us how, Jeff. Yes, our circle is unbroken. It continues round and round. There's no beginning and no ending. Only love where we are found. Will the circle be unbroken here and now? Here and now, Lord, here and now. There's a better life awaiting. Show us how, Lord, show us how. There's a better life awaiting. Show us how, Lord, show us how.
Thank you, Jim and Jeff. That was great.
I found it laying on the piano when I got here. I said, Jeff, let's do this. He said, you want to go over it? And I said, no.
Come on down. Let's continue to be in our heart space, that space inside where the divine resides. And from this space, we bless these offerings as we give a portion into the community to help bless others. We are so grateful for this wonderful church, for everyone here today and on Zoom. We are so grateful for all those who share their time, their talents, their treasures. And today we are especially grateful for Reverend Mary Masters, who shared her wisdom, her love, and a vision for growth, for unity of Kanawha Valley. And we say thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Amen. And now let's gather in a circle. I am the prayer chaplain today, and I'll be over there if you would like a prayer. Who do I hand this to?
Do we have any birthdays or anniversaries we're celebrating today? My grandson George has a birthday coming up. We can sing happy birthday to him. Anybody else? Any anniversaries?
My son's birthday was last Saturday.
Your son, what's his name?
Sam.
Sam.
He turned 25.
25. That's not possible. Sam and George, and who's? Oh, Phil's. Sam, George, and Phil. Okay, here we go. Here's